time to play ball. Just kidding. It's time to talk about ball. Stranded at second, finally here after a few months, probably like 2 months, month and a half of talking about it. Finally here, Nick joined today by Ethan. New guy, Ethan. Welcome to your first official debut as a full-time cast member, my guy.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And Tyler Gallo, our baseball aficionado of Stranded Sports here as well. Tyler, how we doing?
Doing well, as always.
And Gallo, not one to talk for long periods of time, as we can see here. Just kidding. We'll get talking very soon. A lot on the plate, home plate, here today.
Oh.
We have some playoff talk to talk about. Francisco Cervelli's retirement. Going to talk a little bit about Francisco Lindor and a couple other things, including our first ever segment, Random Pitcher of the Week. That's coming up at the end of the episode. But first, guys, before we get into any really debatey topics, we're going to talk about Bob Gibson, who unfortunately passed away a few days ago. Just want to talk about his legacy for a little bit. Ethan, you found out that he hit 206 as a pitcher.
Yeah. I didn't really even know this about him, but he hit 206 as a hitter with 24 home runs in his 17-year career. So I found that very fascinating, along with his other two-time Cy Young winner. So very successful on both sides of the field.
Dude,
John Lester wishes he could hit like that.
Oh my gosh, his 1968 season was just straight out of the legends. The year of the pitcher. Obviously, Cy Young and MVP won that year. A 1.12 ERA. He accounted for, I think his FIP. Yeah, his FIP was 177. I mean, this guy just had an unreal year, and that was the year where they had like the mound that was higher. Just a real legend. And Heaven's really gained two pitching legends in the last couple of months. Tom Seaver, obviously, and Bob Gibson now. But just always sad to see a legend pass on, and it's not a good subject. It's just sad.
Absolutely. Tom Seaver, obviously, that was a big one, as well as Gallo touched on. He was like one of the first sports figurines. You ever buy those plastic sports figurine dudes? I had Tom Seaver, and I didn't know who he was. And I was like obsessed with him after I got it because it had him in that pose where his like knees on the ground covered in dirt. I loved that. I thought that was so cool. Bob Gibson, though, a 9-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ, 251 wins, 3,117 strikeouts in his career, and a 2.91 ERA, as Ethan mentioned, 2-time Cy Young Award winner, and he won the World Series MVP in 64 and 67. Unfortunately, passed away after about a year-long battle with pancreatic cancer, which unfortunately I know all too well about, given some medical history with my family. A terrible disease, and hopefully Bob Gibson is resting comfortably. Unfortunately, we weren't really alive when he was playing. Well, but definitely hearing stories from family and, watching the highlights and stuff. Definitely an absolutely legendary player for this great game, and sad to see him go.
In terms of WAR, that 68 year wasn't even actually his best season. Like, he had a season 2 years later that was 9.8. That was 8.6. But, like, he had a 3-year stretch from 68 to 70 where he was probably the undisputed best pitcher of all time. I mean, like, best pitcher in the game, excuse me. It's just a legend on all facets of the game. So, sad to see him go. Hall of Famer, obviously.
Absolutely. And so, speaking of legends, some players are going to try to become legends as the playoffs roll on. ALDS, NLDS finally here. And sticking to the divisional series title, I suppose, every game is a division matchup. Yankees, Tampa Bay, A's, and Houston. I just realized I'm mixed matching nicknames and city names, so we'll go Yankees, Rays, A's, Astros, Dodgers, Padres, and Braves, Marlins.
It's kind of annoying to see the divisional matchups. I have to rewatch them all season long. So
yeah, you're hoping for some new kind of matchups in this playoff season. And they were all close as well. Congrats to the AL Central.
Yeah.
The Pirates were the only team to not make the playoffs, but every other team didn't make it out of the first round.
Yeah, I mean, that was Trevor Bauer basically bit himself after he said, like, by my count, that's 4 NL Central teams in the playoffs, and then all of them are out in the first round, so it's just funny.
I didn't mind seeing the Cubs go.
Yeah.
Or I've grown to respect the Cardinals. I'm a Pirates fan, for those of you that don't know. I grew to respect the Cardinals because they're always competitive, more than I have disdain for the Cardinals. But let's talk about it. Yankees, Tampa Bay play tonight. Gallo, Yankees are only 2-8 against Tampa Bay this season. But as we saw, the Yankees tore apart that Indians pitching staff, which was very good this year, including Shane Bieber in Game 1. What do we make of Yankees, Tampa Bay this series?
Well, Yankees are fully healthy for this series for the first time all season. They've got Judge, they've got Stanton back, they've got somewhat of Gary Sanchez playing. I mean, he's had one of the worst seasons of his life. I still think I'm going with the Rays. They're a team that is just very surprising. They're a team that doesn't win with the home run. They don't hit a lot of home runs. They get the ball in play and they put it in their bullpen. Oh my goodness. Their bullpen is just an absolute treasure trove of guys that throw 98 and have a wipeout slider. And you can't say enough about what their pitching coach has done. But I have to go with the Rays. I have to go with the Rays of the series with the record in the season and the way that they've been playing. I mean, the Rays sort of just breezed through onto the second round. So I'm going with the Rays for this one.
Ethan, what do you got, my friend?
Gallo, I completely disagree with you.
Oh.
Whoa!
All right. So the Yankees, number one, it's playoff baseball, so anything can happen.
That's true.
I'm tossing that 2-8 record out the window because the Yankees have been riddled with injury all season long, which kind of seems like to be a theme throughout the past couple of seasons. Just look at the last series against the Indians. They just tore through that lineup with the Cy Young winner for who's
your Cy Young winner.
Yeah, who's
His
most
Cy Young
likely
winner.
going to be the Cy Young winner, Shane Bieber, in Cleveland. They just tore through them. I really think that offense is hard to stop. If they can get past the starting pitching, they can put up a couple runs against the Rays starting pitching. That bullpen.
It's tough. That's tough to do. The
Yeah.
Rays have a very. I think if the Rays beat the Yankees, then who's going to stop them in the AL? I like the A's though. If it's an A's-Rays ALCS, that's going to be a very good series. That's two teams that we don't often see get that far, so that's going to be really cool. And
Right.
Yankees-Astros again is just not fun for the 15th year in a row.
Yeah, but this time the team that everyone's rooting against might flip-flop.
That's
might
true.
be the Astros instead of the Yankees now, which
I don't
is
know.
weird.
I can't bring myself to root for the Yankees
I
unless
can't
it's like
either.
in terms of divisional.
Here's a question. Do the Astros winning it all this year, they're not going to. Say they do, though, does that make up for the cheating of the past that they win it cleanly or no?
No.
That's
No
my answer,
chance.
too. I
No,
just
not
figured
at
I'd
all.
get your opinions on it since you're both here. That's a good host.
It's like when you eat chicken and then you get sick, and then even the sight of chicken makes you sick again after that. It's sort of the same thing. They cheated once. Everyone's going to still have that
That's
in
a
their
great
head.
analogy, by the way.
Yeah. So the Astros are basically the chicken in this scenario.
Both AL games are tonight. Tomorrow the AL plays again, but the NL will also play. That's just a little confusing because then Wednesday all 4 games are played. Same with
The
Thursday.
scheduling's been so weird, but that could probably just be attributed to the sheer amount of series that are being played.
Right.
But it's cool. Who did the Rays get through in the first round? Was it the Twins? No, it wasn't.
No,
the
the,
Astros.
No, that was
The
the
Blue Jays.
Astros.
Oh, the Blue
Jays.
Jays had no chance in that series. I mean,
Right. They're young. They have
Yeah.
a good core. Boba Fett. I always want to say Boba Fett.
Bo Bichette, Vladdy Guerrero, who isn't as good as everyone thinks.
Astros Athletics play tonight. Well, today, 4:07, about an hour.
I love the
less
A's.
than an hour from now. A's are a good team to root for.
Very good.
Lance McCullers Jr. will be on the bump for the A's. Starting for the Athletics will be Chris Bassett. And then in the Yankees game, I just ducked below the microphone. Garrett Cole will start for the Yankees, and Blake Snell starts for the Rays.
That's a
That
star-studded
game
matchup.
is at Petco Park. Astros Athletics, Dodger Stadium. They're in the bubbles now, boys.
Oh, the bubbles. There's the news that they will have people in the stands, I believe, for the ALCS, NLCS, and World Series. So that's interesting.
It's fun to see some sort of normalcy. Austin Meadows back for Tampa Bay as well. They announced earlier today. We'll move to the
Huge.
NL now, talking about the Dodgers, Padres, and the Braves. Marlins, 2 more divisional games. Guys, is it finally the Dodgers' year? What are your thoughts on these two
Well,
series?
we saw with the Lightning, it's their year, so why not the Dodgers? If the Dodgers do blow through the Padres, which is tough because the Padres have given them some good games this year in the division, Dodgers have the chance. And then if they play the Rays or A's, that's going to be a really good series. And then Marlins, Braves, I mean, that's a series that I've seen plenty of in my lifetime. And I think the Braves are going to win that one, despite the Marlins not ever losing a playoff series. I think this is the year that they lose. Mostly because it's 2020. Anything can happen.
I don't know if it's that much of a surprise this year, though. Ethan, what do you have to say?
I mean, I'm pretty sure the Dodgers are going to blow through the Padres as much as I want Tatis and Machado to go off for the Padres. They're a very exciting young team. I think they can contend in the next couple of years, but I really think it's the Dodgers' year. It's the Dodgers division and league to lose. I think they could take it all the way up to they could go all the way to the World Series. I don't think anyone's stopping them. But as for the Braves and Marlins, I'm going to have to go with the narrative. I want the narrative to be complete. I want the Marlins to win that series. Just a young talent, a bunch of people that you never even heard of. Sixto Sanchez pitched out of his mind on Friday. He pitched very well.
That game was ridiculous. Ethan and I watched that game pretty much the whole time, and the Cubs just got guys on, couldn't bring them in. Same story, different day. For me, though, I think these teams, a couple of these teams, I don't think we'll see in the playoffs for a couple of years after when they get back to the full schedule and have to play the whole league. I think there's going to be, like, the Marlins, I don't think we'll see in the playoffs next year, obviously. I don't think we'll see the Blue Jays for a couple of years at least. But, because the Blue Jays still need to get some pitching. But it's just like, and the White Sox too. The White Sox, by the way, almost took the A's out of the playoffs.
Right.
But.
All right.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, we're going to move on now to some more time. Oh, but I never said who I thought was going to win in any of those series. My bad. I'm taking Yankees. I don't want to take Yankees, but I think they're going to hit a stride, of course, conveniently when you would expect the Yankees to hit their stride right in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the A's because I don't want the Astros to win, and that's really all my judgment is on that one. So I want a Yankees, A's, ALCS, avenge the Moneyball loss. I'm going Dodgers over Padres like Ethan touched on earlier. I love that Padres team, but I don't think they're ready yet to compete with the Dodgers. I'm going to take the Braves as well. And again, like Ethan said, the Marlins have a bunch of young dudes that you're like, who is this person? And you like to see them succeed.
And a bunch of veterans on one-year deals.
And a few random veterans like my boy Starling Marte.
Aguilar and
Corey Dickerson.
Yeah, I forgot they took the Pirates outfield from
Brad
2015.
Boxberger.
But yeah, I'm going Braves in that one as well. That moves us on. And Matt Joyce. That moves us on to the retirement of Francisco Cervelli.
He really just came to the Marlins just so he could hit a 3-run home run in one game against the Mets and ruin their entire season.
13 seasons. There we go. 13-season career. I can speak for Francisco Cervelli. Won a ring with the Yankees in 2009. Hit 268, 41 home runs, and 275 RBIs. If you look at that stat line, it kind of sounds like he played on rookie mode on MLB The Show, minus the batting average, and just had one really good season.
Which he did, I believe. It was 2015, right?
Francisco Cervelli, here in Pittsburgh, where we're based out of, people loved Francisco Cervelli. That's Amore, his walk-up song. Everyone loved him. Friendly guy, always smiling. Not like a huge retirement, retired because of concussions. Not going to be like a Hall of Fame or anything, but obviously stinks to see these head injuries. Again, maybe cutting another career a little short.
I think every time he played the Marlins played the Mets this year, he would just like be talking the entire time. You could hear him just chattering in the batter's box when he didn't like a call, because he's a catcher. Obviously, he's going to argue balls and strikes.
Yeah.
But like he just would not shut up the whole game. But I enjoyed him as a player. He was good for the. I mean, everyone loved him here. It's tough to see a fan favorite go, especially when it's one of your team's fan favorites.
Right. And so, Ethan, if you had anything, we'll move right
just
on.
like
didn't want to spend a ton of time on this.
Everything that you guys touched on, like he was a fan favorite. I always loved him in Pittsburgh. Everyone in Pittsburgh loved him. So yeah, just sad to see him go just because of concussions. But yeah, he had a great career.
He sure did. Someone else who's having a great career is Francisco Lindor. Another Francisco, exactly. We're hearing all these talks about will he get paid by the Indians. I think he has next year still on his contract,
I believe so.
if I'm not mistaken.
What a deadline pickup that would be.
They've been talking about moving him already, like last summer and now this summer. A lot of talks about Francisco Lindor, what's going to happen. He basically said last week the Indians can afford me, so I don't know why they won't just pay me. I'm going to read all the stats
I'll
really
let
quick.
you do that.
Hit 258 this year, 285 on his career, 30-plus homers between 2017 and 2019, 70-plus RBIs in all those seasons. I think he had 2 90 RBI seasons in those years. 30 homers for a shortstop, though, is pretty damn good. All-Star in 2016 through 2019, two-time Gold Glove winner and 2-time Silver Slugger. Lindor is a dude that's going to put butts in seats, and I'm willing to bet he continues being an exciting young player. He is still pretty young. I think he's in his early 20s still. Definitely going to put butts in seats. Great defensive player as well. So what do we think happens with Lindor?
This is a tough one. As much as he probably should stay in Cleveland, their window is definitely, flickering. They've got obviously the good pitching, but they've been just making a bunch of trades these last couple of years. So they traded away their ace. They traded away some good players. So what makes you think that they're not going to trade Lindor away?
They dumped Clevenger in the middle of this season?
Right. and Clevenger's good.
Clevenger's really good.
But they do have Bieber. They do have a couple of guys in that bullpen that are really good. So it's a team that you don't really know what to think of them right now. They did make the playoffs, but once again, expanded playoffs.
And the division's finally getting better.
Right.
Too. The Twins are good pretty consistently.
They just can't win in the playoffs.
The White Sox are starting to make a case now that they have some of the talent, like Tim Anderson and company there.
Luis Robert just hits the absolute.
And then there's the
crap out of the
Royals
ball.
and the Tigers who exist. But no longer is that, okay, it's Cleveland's division. Let's make sure they don't lose it.
No, I think it's Minnesota's division now.
All right. And so that makes you wonder, does Lindor see that writing on the wall? / how much does he want? Because only a certain amount of teams are going to be able to afford him, depending on what he wants.
Right, and I think a team that could use him is the Los Angeles Angels, because obviously they need the pitching, but also Simmons is, I believe, a free agent this year, and he probably won't re-sign with them. So why not get another lightning shortstop like Lindor, put him in there, get butts and seats like you said.
They also haven't done much to help Mike Trout.
Not at all, and that would be just another.
That's putting it lightly.
Yeah, another piece of the puzzle. You know, you've got Ohtani, you've got Rendon now, and Trout, and build it around even more. And Pujols still quietly chugging along. Obviously not the greatest anymore, but yeah. What do you think, Ethan?
I mean, I don't really think there's a future for him in Cleveland. I think Cleveland hasn't been able to get over that hump since the 2016 season where they made it to the World Series. Yeah, just haven't made it over that hump. And I think Lindor wants to win. I mean, any player wants to win, but I think especially him, he wants to win. He's been with the team for a while, so I think he won't make it past the deadline next year. Yeah, like Gallo said, probably the Angels is probably his best bet.
As much as I would love to see him in orange and blue,
Yeah.
I don't think that's in the cards.
Well, he was there basically right when the Indians started heating up.
Yeah.
Really,
He was the reason they sort of started getting better, I believe.
Well, I think he came in 2015,
Yeah,
2014,
15 is when he,
right
like-
when the ship was being steered in the right
a
direction.
lot
So
of good players came up around that
He
era.
was there when they were peaking as an organization, and now they're starting to taper off that heavy hitter. And as Gallo said, their pitching's still fantastic, but they're starting to fall off that heavy hitter area. And
I mean, even without, booting Plesac from the rotation after he left the bubble area, I guess, that they were in, and Clevenger as well, and then they traded him to San Diego. Indians are a weird team to look at. Because
they are. Their pitching coaching staff's incredible.
Last
'cause
season-
everyone they call up pitches dynamite.
Right.
Until they played the Yankees. But
Last season we saw it with them. The 2019 Indians were fringe. They called, I believe they called the Mets a fringe postseason team, but when they played them, they just they were on that sort of upward trend of almost getting into the playoffs, and then they didn't. So.
And yeah, like I was saying, Lindor was there when they were peaking, when they
Right.
were really competing to win World Series, and now they're drifting off into that, are they a playoff team or not? They're going to be really close. It's going to come down to the
They're
end.
like the Minnesota Wild in the NHL. They'll make the playoffs every other year, sort of like that, and they'll
Right.
make it far, or they'll just not do well, or first round exit.
And considering Lindor's basically entering his prime years, he was really young when he came up. So I mean, these are technically his prime years he's coming up on now. I mean, he's not going to want to be there for an Indians rebuild, I wouldn't think.
Probably not.
He seems like he wants to stay, though. If they
He
give
wants
him
to,
the offer.
but I don't think the Indians are going to let him stay. I don't think it's in the cards.
Based
for them.
off what happened with Kluber, yeah.
Yeah, like Kluber coming off an injury, you'd think he want to bounce back year with the Indians, but nope.
Right.
They just shipped him off to Texas, where Texas is just in the same boat.
Didn't Kluber get injured with Texas this year? Yeah.
Yep. And
No one won that trade.
Texas put out the picture at the beginning of the year.
That trade.
I think it was him, Lance Lynn, and Mike Minor, and none of those three players are with the Rangers right now. Actually, well, Kluber still is, but Minor and Lynn both got traded, I believe.
All right. So that will bring us to the Phillies. GM steps down. Matt Klentak. Is that how I pronounce that?
Klentak, yeah.
Klentak? Okay, I want to make sure. I knew how to pronounce it. Then I said it live, and I was like, oh, my God, did I butcher that? So steps down. They say he's probably going to get another role in the organization. Is it his fault that the team hasn't done what they've been expected to, or is it the players not playing up to their standards? Ethan, you can start this one.
All right. So I feel like it's a little bit of both because the Mike Klentak, he brought in, what was it, Didi Gregorius, JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, obviously, one of the big names.
McCutchen.
Gave up six for
McCutchen
Real
as well.
Muto, for a season and a half of Real Muto.
But yeah, you got all of those offensive players. The bullpen was just god awful this season. So it kind of falls on them. It also falls on the bullpen could have gotten a lot better at the deadline, but they got what they got. And
You got Brandon Workman, who wasn't bad in Boston.
no,
He just came and got that Phillies over his chest and started to become a Philly.
But like honestly, I think if the starting pitching and bullpen performed a lot better, they would probably have made the expanded playoffs this season. So it kind of falls on both ends of management and the players.
Well, the Phillies went 1-7 in their last 8 games. If they would have went 2-6, they would have made the playoffs. They need to win 2 games out of their last 8, and they only managed to win 1. And as Ethan said, the bullpen struggles were evident all season long.
Oh my goodness.
We have a friend who was very vocal on Twitter about the Phillies bullpen costing them games. So one of those games goes another way. They're in the playoffs this year. Gallo, what do you make of all this?
Well, having this team in the division, it's just funny. Like, it's just laughable that they did absolutely nothing they tried to address the bullpen situation. They didn't. They didn't sign anybody on the offseason for the bullpen. If you remember that, they signed one pitcher. They put it all on one pitcher, and Didi Gregorius, Zach Wheeler, who is a good pitcher, but I don't think he's going to be the ace of the staff like Aaron Nola is. And they don't give enough credit to Aaron Nola at all. Aaron Nola just goes out and every 5 days just takes the ball. But it's another thing where the guys that they are hoping to succeed just aren't. These prospects who are getting hyped up and getting absolutely just a ton of media attention just aren't producing. Like, think about Mickey Moniak, first overall pick. This was his first season in the MLB, and he was only up there because it was 2020. They've got Sir Anthony Dominguez, who's hurt. Neris hasn't been very good in the closer's role. You can sort of put that on Klentak, pin that a little bit. I mean, he did try to address the pitching, but didn't do it enough. And fans were just basically bullying him to step down, and he did. So that's all I got to say about the Phillies. It's funny to see them lose, obviously, but it's also, you spend all this money on Bryce Harper and JT Realmuto you traded the farm for, and you can't get in the playoffs, finish .500 for back-to-back seasons. And they haven't been in the playoffs since 2012, I believe. So
that brings us, on a lighter note, to our random pitcher of the week.
Ooh.
We're going to start with the one and only Ethan Morrison.
All right, so my random pitcher of the week is Ross Ohlendorf.
Ross Ohlendorf. I went to a Pirates game, and he was on the program cover. And I was
Ross
like,
Ohlendorf,
oh my God, is this the best we've got?
I think most notably pitched like an old-timer.
Yeah?
He would put the hands over his head.
Funky
and
wind-up.
Yep.
I did Brian Wilson, probably for the Giants.
The beard.
Giants and Dodgers, acclaim. Brian Wilson, nice beard.
Good closer.
Good closer.
Closed out a World Series.
And then Sergio Romo tried to a few years later.
And he
for
did.
the Giants and succeeded as well.
Mine is Mets bullpen legend Pedro Feliciano. So, a bit of an interesting story about him. Directly from him, they got Yoenis Cespedes. So, sort of a 6 degrees of separation, but good pitcher, good bullpen guy. Pitched almost every day. His nickname was Perpetual Pedro because, listen to this. So, from 2006 to 2010, he pitched in a grand total of 408 games in 5 seasons. And 86 in 2008, 88 in 2009, 92 in 2010. And he pitched every day, and he was a good pitcher. He never had an ERA above, 4.05 in a season. 3 career WAR, struck out like how a reliever would, but never would just go out pretty much every day and pitch and wouldn't be bad at it. So he's a good pitcher. But indirectly, he signed with the Yankees and then got hurt and never pitched with them. So the Mets got compensation for that, and they got Michael Fulmer, who they traded for Yoenis Cespedes.
It's a lot of random knowledge you've got there.
Yeah, sadly.
He goes, yeah. All right.
You put Brain Wilson on the...
I don't care. I know what I meant. Jeez, don't expose me like that on the program. All right, this has been Straight at Second. Any final words from either of you guys?
Let's go A's. Let's go Rays.
That was a cute little rhyme.
Playoff baseball. It's here.
Playoff baseball clap, says Ethan Morrison. We will see you hopefully next week, if not in 2 weeks. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.